morning. Having orange coffee with you this morning. Can't decide whether it's going to be juicy orange juice or black coffee. How's your week been? Been a great week. Really, like the 5 days. What did you notice working through the 5 days of stopping, being aware, and dancing? Dancing can be anything that you want, anything that you enjoy doing, something different. Maybe your dance is your hobby. Maybe your dance, it doesn't have to be a literal dance, but just think about what situation are you dancing with? Are you in harmony with? See, harmony is different than balance. Harmony fits more like how life works with all the moving pieces. See, a balance is only two pieces. And then listen, question mark. What are you listening to? What are you listening to? Are you listening to your head? Are you listening to the world? Are you listening to your heart? Are you listening to your fear? And man, does it always change. That's this muscle. It's always changing to keep us safe. And then celebrate. This is celebrating just a new skill, a new practice, a new habit. And it's in what we're celebrating is becoming a powerful creator rather than I got sirens. I'm gonna wait. Oh, there they go. They go away. So rather than beating yourself up, for your shortcomings, for your old habits, for the way life was, you have to forgive yourself. All of this work, all of life, as best I can tell for me, has been to find my story, find what I want, which required me to notice when it wasn't my story, which was all my stories, which is all my stories, that I'm now noticing, dancing with them, listening what's going on for them, and then celebrating what's different. And of course, in the celebration of what's different, there's always what's the next obvious action. And that is how you move. See, life is a structure. Man, when I learned that life was a structure, it changed everything. Because I was adding a component, I was adding a fundamental structure that I thought needed to be in it, and there's a model in which it doesn't. And I want to share that model with you this morning. So I get up, I make coffee the night before, I set the timer, it goes off. Those are obvious actions if I want my coffee, right? If I want it. So if I want coffee, which I want is always in the future. So I want my coffee. Now I can always wait up until the moment right before I want my coffee, but it's still that is one way to do it. And when I drink my coffee, then that cycle's complete. But then that cycle continues through my whole body. It feeds it, it poisons it, it does all sorts of things to it. And then I keep doing it again. And I keep doing it again. And all of a sudden it becomes a lifetime. These are habits that we don't really pay attention to. We forget about so many things when they just work. That, we're going to be lazy and take our laziest way. That's okay. And don't judge the lazy either. And so there's tension between when I think about coffee and having it. Now, when it's a habit, there's very little tension because you're always in it resolving the tension. Another way we can resolve the tension is move our focus away from it. We don't want it any longer, or focus on something else. And that happens a lot. In all reality, that's what happens most of the time when we're not in a habit. Meaning every moment of now is just a building block for life. A pixel, if you will, a moment in time. Each second, there's 60 seconds in a minute. And I say, like, I and you can only take up a space in a time. That's the best I got in this world. I think space goes up, space goes out, space goes down, and space goes that way. 3D dimensional, that's what I see here. But then in that, there's also layers that we don't understand. And in that not understanding, do we look to the past for our patterns to say, oh, that works, and we're going to use this thinking brain to figure out how that works so that we can predict to the future. We can anticipate what's going to happen. And, you know, through evolution, that makes complete sense. And so what the difference is that one's look, oh, let me look at how it's always been to the past. And another one says, well, let's just create it how we want it. Whoa. That is a huge shift. It seems small, but it is huge. So that's what, like, someone opened it up for me. It made no sense at first, but it was like, whoa, there's something really true about that I've thought about it these ways. It's a real complex idea made simple. So anything between what you want and what you have now is a feeling. And we've created this story of who we are and that feeling, all micro stories inside of macro stories. We have these personalities that exist most of the time, and like I would say, you know, where is the majority of your thinking in terms of time? Do you live more in the past, the present, or the future? And it's just to be aware, to dance with. And so where we get, our judger gets in the way is that when we say, oh, I want this in the future, we've been conditioned to respond automatically with, I can't have that. And it's from everyone's childhood. How we had to resolve how the world works when we couldn't get what we wanted. And obviously we were always present, and so we were never good enough because we got praise when we were. We got what we wanted. It felt good. And so our emotions and the words have gotten, entangled. And we use that to our advantage to think about what is in the way. Why can't I have that? What are all those stories and emotions that are there? And when we do that and we have the courage, the confidence, and the peace, the quietness from the ego to sit in that question of what are all the stories I put in the way and why, not to relive them, but just to acknowledge them in the moment as they are released. You think about it as like moving boulders as a river runs through, it's always moving sediment. And so it's like this, as you think about all of the layers of fears, layers of emotions, layers of judgments that you've just built up over time, that once they start moving, once you start bringing them up moving, you can let water get underneath of them, right? You can let oxygen in and it can breathe again. You're bringing life back to these emotions that you just put there to keep you safe as a child. And now in this world where we're at, it's like, oh, we don't need to keep that story anymore, child. Look, and almost like as a teenager, it's like we can almost look and be like, yes, we can create ourselves from who we want. Now as an adult, now as a 70-year-old, no matter what, it's like if we can use all that experience, let go of all the emotions to it, and just go for what we want. And so that's really the big pivot, is to turn and see and allow that. And so now you have, what do I want? What's it like now? What's in the way? Recode that, because it is the fastest way to run down the emotional baggage as a child, like goes to the deepest, like before birth even. Memories, and shift it from there, because everything has just been built on it. It's an accumulation of, and when you can shift it, the old stuff, the baggage can drop off and you can go for what you want. So that structure, the importance of this structure being that when we acknowledge what we want and what it would feel like to have that, what is the emotion of having it, of being it, what would you be doing? And you need, like, the key of this is to do that now, be that person today, so that you teach your body what it would be like as you accumulate it. As you go, now see, this is why goals don't work. We got to put the emotion behind it. And that's where we got to find the true, because the best emotion is love. It is 6 times powerful than anything this can come up with. And then when we amplify it together, put it together, create it with other people in love, that amplifies even more. Exponential, hockey stick curve up. So that's the structure. Like, structure of life is in the, what do I want into the future? Yeah, what's it like now? Just the truth of the matter. That creates a tension. Yeah. Yeah, and then it's like there's a story of the self. It's like, what is the emotion of, or do those emotions line up? Are they the same person? Because if they're not, you're not going to get there. And that's when we use the recode to remove those limits so that you can just flow to what you want. There's going to be hiccups along the way, but the focus is on creating it how you want it, rather than fixing or avoiding how it isn't. Great coffee with you. It's time to go say good morning to my wife. Make it a great day.